I mean, if you're a Bears fan, you're thinking forward progress. Come on.
10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress. A Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.
We give you Forward Progress on 312 Sports on this pre-Super Bowl Thursday with football things happening and attention being paid to America's cult-like sport from across the world. And the Bears news that we have today is a new running backs coach.
Yep.
And it's a former Bears coach who I actually remember from my time 100 years ago on the Bears beat, Eric Studesville, who I believe was their quality control coach starting around 96 or 97. And he was there under Dave Wannstedt and actually stuck around after Wannstedt was fired and after the Dave McGinnis fiasco, and he was there under Dick Jauron. So he was kept there. I don't remember if he was promoted at that point, but I know he started as I think offensive quality control and then has certainly paid his dues.
So Bears new running backs coach that replaces Eric Bieniemy, still
somebody named Eric. Apparently it has to be an
it has
assistant
to be
coach
Eric.
named Eric.
What's left for the Bears coaching staff?
Well, offensive coordinator.
Yeah, OC.
That's the big one.
That's it, right?
Yeah,
right.
I think it's
that's
just
all that's left.
I think it's offensive coordinator, and
yeah,
it's
and we
interesting
still,
that
unless I missed it, did you see what Will Lawing is going to do yet? Have they announced any role?
No.
BC coach. Okay,
I have not seen it. That was the first name that surfaced.
Yeah,
when we hit the offseason, and so far nothing. But yes, Studesville has a long resume here, and after his time,
well, yeah, if he was coaching with Wannstedt.
Well, he was offensive quality control under Wannstedt. Then under Jauron, it looks like wide receivers coach and assistant special teams coach. So he must have had enough value to stick around. Running backs coach for the Giants, running backs coach for Buffalo, running game coordinator for Buffalo, running backs coach for the Broncos in 2010, interim head coach for the Broncos in 2010. Then he was
I forgot that. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, running backs coach again there from 2011 to 2016. Dolphins RB coach and run game coordinator. Dolphins co-OC and running backs coach. Then Dolphins associate head coach and running backs coach, and now Bears running backs coach.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that in his career he has coached 14 1,000-plus yard rushers. So good success for the run game, and we know that will continue hopefully for the Chicago Bears.
Yep.
But yeah, replaced a guy with a guy who's got some great experience.
Terrific. I don't know really how much difference running backs coaches make.
So wait, you said
certainly
Miami too, right? He was Miami?
Yeah, he's certainly qualified for the position.
Did he and were he and Johnson down there at the same time? What if they crossed paths down there?
I would have to check that. He was with the Dolphins 2017 until yesterday. So probably borderline.
Yeah, because Ben was there 2021 with Detroit.
Yep. So there's
I bet they were in Miami together. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, there you go.
All right. I don't have a strong feeling. I can't tell you right now, good, bad, indifferent, but he's certainly, I cannot say he's probably the most qualified person they could possibly find with experience in multiple organizations as a running backs coach. He did it for the Giants, the Bills, the Broncos, and the Dolphins, and now the Bears.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw this. Did you see Joe Flacco was on a show? I'm assuming around the Super Bowl media row, radio row. He was on the Kevin Clark show.
I saw it. Yes.
Okay. So I thought it was interesting, and just want to pull up a couple points and share with you. I didn't expect to hear Joe Flacco say all these things, but he was talking about the 15-yard penalties, the flags thrown against quarterback, where quarterbacks are being hit, or
He's not here. He's not here for your quarterback protections. He's not here for incidental hits to the head. He is not here for falling on a quarterback with your full weight being a penalty. And then he was just getting started. And then he got rolling a little bit. He was talking about all these penalties on legal hits down the field. He has become an old, is what he is.
He sure has. Yeah, shouldn't be roughing the passer when they land on me, when they slap my head. That shouldn't be a penalty as well. These 15-yard flags.
When they drip hot candle wax on my nipples, that also. Oh, wait, that also.
He likes that.
He said he was kind of getting there. When they pull out a cat of nine tails and punish me for being a bad boy, Well, I think I've spoken too much, perhaps.
Yeah, but he said these 15-yard penalties, they affect the game in a negative way. Ultimately saying that the game should be decided by the players and not by the officials with these kind of 15-yard penalties.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I know he's Frankenstein's monster and the guy he's not human, so these things probably don't hurt him or affect him at all. But just to hear a quarterback talk that way was kind of surprising.
Yeah, I thought it was. He kind of was feeling himself a little bit when he kind of got rolling, and he then at one point paused and he goes, "Well, I'm sure that the guys before me thought the same things about the guys before them." And he was self-aware for a moment, and then he went right back into the game was better back in the day, and now these young quarterbacks they don't have it so tough, and they don't develop as quickly because they don't have a sense beaten into them in the same way. So he slipped into a kind of a caricature of an old player who thinks the young players are coddled and cosseted.
Yeah, because he even mentioned a running back going across the middle of the field and getting drilled, how that shouldn't be looked at as a penalty. He called that just football. That's just football. When a guy gets drilled, and regardless of how it happens and what the defensive player uses to hit the player, that's just football. So, you know, I don't know. And it was weird because, you know, we've done enough interviews. You've done enough interviews that he answers the question and then just doesn't stop. And he's going and going. And then another thing. And let me tell you one more thing. And then there's another thing I want to say.
You as an interviewer.
It was great. Yes, it was great.
He's rolling. Don't stop.
Guy didn't have to say anything. He asked one question. He spoke for like 12 minutes. And another thing, you know, get off my lawn, damn kids.
It was great. It didn't bother me when they would jump on my head and stand on my neck and all this stuff. That's just football. So I don't know why they're all unhappy about it. I had to go through it. I had to deal with it. I had to learn about it.
Yeah, I loved it, and that's my guy. I don't know what his status is for next year if he's playing anywhere in the league, but I'll be rooting for him when he's out there playing though. Frankenstein's monster. All right, have you heard of the newsletter by Joe Pompliano? It's called Huddle Up.
No.
So it releases
Huddle Up newsletter. Okay.
Yeah, three times a week, and I've been reading it. It's been a good read. He put one out this week about the demands that the NFL puts on the host city for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So apparently there is a 154-page bid submission document of requirements that the host city must follow through for on the NFL. If the NFL is to come to your city, you have to follow through on this 154-page submission.
And this is disclosed before you're even in the running for it. If you apply for this, if you enter into the sweepstakes to win one of these must be, it isn't like after the fact. It's like, so you've won a Super Bowl and you now have one in your city, and here are the 154 pages.
Yeah, you're fully aware of all this before you even go in and say, hey, I want to host one. You know what's entailed before this happens. Now, you know, last year, Dan, there was 127.7 million people that watched the game. NBC this year will generate more than $700 million in advertising revenue from commercials alone. So obviously big business. We know that luxury suites have already been sold for $1 million or more. The San Jose airport expects 150 private jets, each paying anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 special event fee just to land. So the money is insane. So what he went through and he read this 154 page.
If you are a pilot, you want to pay that before you take off. You just want to make sure that your landing fee is taken care of. You don't want to be like running out of gas trying to cobble together your landing fee. Just a little bit.
Well, yeah,
of advice.
I would think that would be, that's a good warning to throw out there to all the private jet pilots that are listening to the podcast right now. Make sure you pay your fees in advance. Because you'd hate to be like, all right, we're coming in here. And,
guess we're coming into land. Not so fast.
Not this.
I don't have it on me. I don't have it on me. I
don't have 20 grand. Sorry. Yeah, like it's. I don't think that's something you call 5 minutes before when you're out and say, hey, I want to land, and all right, we'll get your credit card now.
Exactly.
All right, so he went through this 154 pages, and he pulled out some, and I just want to go through some of these because these are incredible, and this is why I think the state of Illinois will never, ever, 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 regardless of what happens with their stadium issues, will ever host a Super Bowl. Now, obviously, if they stay at Soldier Field, and thank you for all the emails and people and saying that the lease ends 2033. Thank you for that. Even if they stay at Soldier Field, it's never going to happen. We know that for sure. If they get a new stadium and somehow that gets built in Illinois, I still don't think they'll ever host one. But here's what it is. And he pulled out the top 40. I'll go through some of these for you. The NFL gets the use of the Super Bowl stadium rent-free for 30 days before the game and 24 days after, a total of 54 days of use, completely free of charge.
Okay.
The stadium must have at least 70,000 seats. If the stadium is located in a city where the historical average daily temperature over a 10-year period during the week of the game is below 50 degrees, it must have a dome. If the NFL decides to make a weather-related exception, as they did at MetLife Stadium in 2014, the stadium must install an under-field heating system at its own expense. Okay. The NFL sets ticket prices and receives 100% of ticket revenue. As for ticket allocation, the two participating teams each receive 17.5% of the total tickets. The host team receives 5%. The 29 other NFL teams receive 1.2%, and the NFL controls the remaining 25.2% of the Super Bowl tickets. So the NFL controls 1/4 of all the Super Bowl tickets, period. But they get 100% of the ticket revenue. The host city must provide the NFL with 3 championship-level 18-hole golf courses and 2 top-quality bowling alleys free of charge for charity events.
Okay, like when they say top quality, they mean something like one of these like clubby newfangled bar restaurant like Lucky Strike down here or something like that.
Yeah, I would think something like that, large enough, obviously, and then championship level 18-hole courses.
Championship level.
Yeah, so you're thinking PGA quality event, not just this is one of the best ones in our state or our area. If the PGA wouldn't play there, that's probably not going to qualify. Okay,
so you've got Chicago Golf, you have Medina, you've got
Cog Hill.
Yeah, the Dubs dreaded Cog Hill.
Conway Farms has hosted championships before BMW, but that's too far out too, I would think.
Well, it's where the
depending
Bears
on where it
offices
is.
are. I don't think it's too far out.
Because it has to be things have to be within certain driving distance of the actual playing stadium.
But how are they going to play in February?
Well, they wouldn't. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's why this is never going to happen in Illinois.
Okay.
The NFL can cover or remove ATM machines inside the Super Bowl stadium if they conflict with its preferred payment partner. This also applies to food and beverages. So if the stadium typically serves Coca-Cola and Heineken, the NFL can replace those beverages with league sponsors like Pepsi and Bud Light. The host city must provide the NFL with sales tax exemptions on all revenue generated from ticket sales, parking fees, merchandise, and NFL-related events.
That's giving up a ton.
A ton. 16 months before the Super Bowl, the NFL will send 180 people to the host city for a familiarization trip to inspect the region. The host city must cover all expenses for this trip.
So they're just basically partying.
Yes. They're getting familiar with the region. And there's 180 of us, and you're paying for everything from airfare and cars and hotels and food Everything we do, you're paying for it.
Okay.
The NFL must be allocated at least 50% of the luxury suites, no less than 70. At least 75% of those suites must be between the end lines, with 30 suites on the press box side and 4 suites at the 50-yard line. The 4 best suites go to the participating teams, the league's broadcast partner, and Commissioner Goodell. The NFL gets a free luxury suite at the Super Bowl's host home stadium throughout the entire regular season leading up to the year's game. So they get a free luxury suite for the entire season.
Sure.
Potential hosts.
So for the people who are there for the all-expense paid 6-month vacation, need somebody to take their clients or wine and dine potential sponsors and customers, you've got a place to do it. Okay.
Potential hosts may not use celebrities, mayors, governors, or senators in their bid presentations. Once the NFL picks its finalists, those finalists can make their case to the league's membership group, NFL owners, and then they vote to determine the winner. So that's how it goes. So you know all this in advance. From an operating cost perspective, the NFL agrees to pay only for electricity, water, gas, and sewage incurred during the Super Bowl. These expenses are calculated as the difference between stadium consumption in stand-down mode, non-Super Bowl operating mode, and the stadium during Super Bowl week. So whatever the cost is above normal stand-down mode, which is non-Super Bowl week, that's what the NFL will pay for.
Okay, I would need a clarification there that when they say non-stand-down mode, would that be a regular season game, or would that be when there's no game going on?
I would assume because it highlights non-Super Bowl operating mode, so I would think that's during regular season.
So non-Super Bowl, but it is
regular season
in
game.
Regular operating mode.
Right, because if you're not doing anything, then the cost is zero because no one's there. So
I'm sure there's some cost. I'm sure there's a nominal cost, but
they would pay whatever it is above like a regular season game.
Okay.
Which I'm surprised they even would allow to do that. The host stadium must have general liability insurance of at least $100 million. The host city committee may purchase up to 750 Super Bowl tickets, but these tickets may not be resold on the secondary market at a price above face value. Given the required expenses to host a Super Bowl, the host must provide the NFL with a bond or a letter of credit for at least $30 million. This bond or letter of credit is kept in force for 6 months after the game, ensuring all expenses are paid.
Okay, that's reasonable, I guess.
The NFL requires the host stadium's natural grass field to be resodded for the Super Bowl at no cost to the NFL. When the game is over, the stadium operator must also pay to have the field removed at no cost to the NFL, and portions of the field are sent back to the NFL so they can sell them as licensed products.
Okay.
So new sod, we don't pay for it. When you're done, you take it off, but you give some of it to us so we can sell it.
Right.
Yeah.
Grass.
Yes.
Sod.
Grass. Sod.
Mm-hmm.
The host city must have hotel rooms equal to 30% of the stadium capacity within a 60-minute drive of the stadium. For a 75,000 seat stadium, that's 27,000 hotel rooms within 60 minutes. Drive times are estimated based on peak drive time hours.
Good luck with that, then.
Good luck with that.
Especially here. Yeah. I'm just trying to think.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
There's more things that I keep saying, and I'm like, no Chicago, no Chicago, no Chicago.
Yeah, they're already out.
Yes.
That didn't take long.
No. Hotel rates cannot exceed the average February rate from the year prior. And while the host committee is allowed to accept a 10% kickback from hotels for nightly bookings that week, 50% of whatever they make must go back to the NFL. So they can get
extortion.
Complete extortion. They can get 10% kicked back to them, but if 50% of that 10% goes back to the NFL.
Well, now hold on a second.
Okay.
Does all this apply? If, in fact, I always thought the rule was the unspoken rule. The rule was you build something, you get a Super Bowl. Do they waive all this if if they get the deals that they want, can they waive parts of this? I'm sure the NFL could just, or somebody could just redline out any number of these.
No, I would say no. Why would they do that? No, I think if you build a stadium, if you go to the league and say, hey, we're going to build like SoFi Stadium, we're going to build, this is what we're going to build, this is what we're putting in place. Great. If you build this, we will give you a Super Bowl. There will be no committee to look it over. We will award you a Super Bowl in year X if you build this particular stadium.
Well, did you go back and look? Do me a favor. Go back to the bowling alley golf course portion.
Yeah.
Was that or was that or?
And.
So how did they do a Super Bowl in Detroit? There was nobody. You weren't playing golf in Detroit?
The host city must provide the NFL with 3 championship-level 18-hole golf courses and 2 top-quality bowling alleys free of charge for charity events.
Okay, so I mean, maybe they provided them, but I didn't remember any charity events at the Detroit Super Bowl.
We provided them, just no one played
on a golf course. Okay.
Team hotels must provide 100% of their total room inventory exclusively to the NFL, with a minimum of 300 rooms per property. At least 157 rooms must be free of charge, including 150 standard rooms, 7 suites, and 2 presidential suites. These hotels must also agree to replace food and beverage products with league sponsors and to televise the NFL Network for 1 year prior to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
The host city must also provide 40 3-bedroom, 50 2-bedroom, and 20 1-bedroom apartments for 30 to 40-day stays for working staff, such as production and security leading up to the game. These apartments must be within 20-minute drive of the stadium and include amenities such as Wi-Fi, full kitchens, in-bedroom televisions, a washer and dryer, and a workout facility on the property.
Okay.
The host stadium must revise all its sponsorship agreements so the NFL is provided with a clean stadium free of any advertising for the Super Bowl.
You have to scrub all of it.
All of it. The NFL then controls the advertising inventory, with the only exception being a stadium naming rights partner. However, the naming rights also have stipulations. A stadium naming rights partner can only stay in place if 1, the deal is at least 10 years old, and 2, the deal runs for an additional 5 years after the Super Bowl.
God. Otherwise, they can trample on that too.
Otherwise, they can take that down. So if you have one that's 2 years old, you can take that down. I mean, as a matter of fact, you're required to take it down. The host city must provide the NFL with 35,000 free parking spaces within 1 mile of the stadium.
Okay, no possible way.
These spots need
not
to be
for an actual car.
These spots need to be paved, secure, and well lit.
35,000 parking spaces?
The stadium is not
in
allowed
Chicago?
The stadium is not allowed to put any flyers or promotional products on the parked cars.
Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, you got enough for that in Arlington. I'm just trying to picture, could Arlington Heights do this?
The NFL is entitled to 100% of the parking revenue generated at the stadium.
Why not? I mean, this is...
Hang on. The NFL, in coordination with state, local, and federal authorities, requires the installation of a minimum 300-foot hardened security perimeter around the stadium's exterior walls at least 96 hours before the game's kickoff. The host is responsible for securing up to 14,000 lineal feet of 12-foot to 16-foot concrete barrier to fortify the secured perimeter around the stadium. This includes all shipping, transportation, delivery, and installation costs, all covered by the host.
That's something you would install ahead of time just for your own purposes, or hoping you could... You're not going to do a temporary barrier like that, are you?
No, you're not. But I mean, it's very specific on the requirements, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listen to this. Any businesses operating within the stadium's 300-foot security perimeter, restaurants, sports books, utility plants, whatever, must close for 96 hours before kickoff. If closing a business requires financial relief, the host is responsible for payment.
Okay.
All right, you ready? The host city must provide, there's more. The host city must provide the NFL with at least 750 buses, 500 limousines, 1,000 taxis, and 10,000 rental cars. The buses and limos must be no more than 5 years old.
Okay.
The NFL gets the right of first refusal to purchase all advertising on public transportation at standard rates. Buses, trolleys, subways, light rail, water taxis.
All of it?
Yes.
Okay. So the city loses out on all that money. This
Yes.
is really not sounding like that great a deal.
It's not. The
It's kinda
host...
now that this kind of sounds bad now.
It doesn't sound very good, does it?
No.
The host must make available at least 20 billboards for NFL use from September through the completion of the game. The first installation, of course, is free of charge, with any additional vinyl changes coming at cost. The NFL has the first right of refusal on other billboards around the stadium at the standard rate, no markup. The host city must obtain waivers or exemptions to allow alcohol to be served until at least 4 a.m. at the NFL/team post-game hotels and parties.
Well, I was a part of that on the NBA side once, where the NBA went up against the laws of the ancient draconian bizarre laws of Utah.
Yes.
And guess what won out?
The NBA.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I even remember somebody from the NBA saying, he said, I'll be damned if there aren't going to be bottles open in this hotel tonight.
Yeah, so you have to have at least at minimum a 4 a.m. liquor license. The NFL gets to approve stadium's final concession menu and price list. 2 team practice facilities must be reserved for exclusive use from Saturday, 8 days before the game, through game day, with rental fees and all operational expenses, security, staff, power, IT, catering, laundry services, etc., waived or paid for by the hosts. These facilities must be equivalent to the local NFL's team's facilities.
Makes sense.
Okay. To protect privacy during team practices, the host city must prevent unauthorized viewing of the practice facilities. If the facility doesn't have privacy built in, the host city might be required to build opaque fencing, cover windows, or even potentially vacate nearby buildings that offer a view of the facility during practice.
God forbid you see that somebody's running a dagger combination.
Right, when you're in your office working at your cubicle.
Right, and then you're walkie-talkieing all that information live
to the opposing team.
Opponent.
It's
yes.
like the owner of a company is like, all right, guys, I guess we're going home for the next 8 days. We can't work because we can see these facilities.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl's stadium's cellular service must meet or exceed the standards of the top 3 NFL stadiums for connectivity and coverage across all public areas. If cellular coverage needs to be enhanced, the host must install temporary towers.
All right.
The host city must provide the NFL with all necessary public safety and law enforcement needs free of charge.
Okay,
this includes...
I have a weird question here. When you say host city,
mm-hmm.
if the Bears were to do this in Arlington Heights, technically Chicago is the host city? Like, this doesn't, there's no way that a smaller municipality could come close to pulling off any of this. When you say the host, do you mean the host city, meaning the market, meaning the entire market? Or
it's not specified, but that's just what I assume, because
okay.
Thinking through that, I'm like, I mean, you have, their facilities are in Lake Forest. Their, stadium, let's say potentially would be Arlington Heights, but the market is Chicago.
Right. I would think that there would be like a metro area market.
Right. Like Santa Clara is not paying for all the stuff in Super Bowl.
Okay. But it's whatever your formed multi-municipality committee or organization, an ad hoc formation of a group that would represent the city or the market.
Correct. That's what I would assume. Yes, that makes sense. Because Arlington Heights would be like,
right.
Yeah, by the way, we don't want a stadium or a Super Bowl here.
Right.
All right. So they have to pay for all the public safety, which includes police officers to EMS, anti-counterfeit teams, and nuclear radiation monitoring helicopters.
What do those cost?
I wouldn't think they're cheap.
Or can you retrofit a current helicopter to monitor nuclear radiation?
With a guy named Bill. He was in Vietnam. He can smell the stuff. Yeah, he's good.
Oh yeah. Yep. We got I can smell 6 rads. Definitely. That's cesium. I know it. There's shrimp down there. Yep, that's radioactive shrimp.
Radioactive shrimp, yeah. The host stadium must be fully cleaned, and all facilities will be in good working condition at the beginning of the Super Bowl period at no cost to the NFL. A final cleaning of the stadium must then be conducted 2 days before the game. All potential renovation projects at the Super Bowl host stadium must be completed at least 1 month before the game. Any plans for stadium construction or renovation before the game must be approved by the NFL. The NFL has the exclusive right to host stadium tours prior to the Super Bowl. The host stadium must provide the NFL with 1,100 working positions or seats for media members, 600 with writing tabletops, 500 without tabletops, all with a full view of the field. Press box seats must be 24 inches wide and have a writing surface 20 inches deep. The stadium must also provide 21 press box booths, 160 square feet, and 10 to 12 mid-level camera positions for NFL films and international cameras. In addition to providing the NFL with free retail space throughout the airport, the host city must spend at least $60,000 on Super Bowl decor, like banners and stuff, etc. The host committee must cover all relevant expenses for a media party that includes 2,500 domestic and 1,000 international media members. So you're paying for a 3,500 person party. The NFL agrees to make a $1 million charitable donation to a nonprofit youth service providers in the host community, which the host committee must match.
Oh, isn't that nice? $1 million.
So we're going to give $1 million to a youth program in Chicago, but you have to match it as well. So those were the 40 that he found were the most interesting in this 154-page document.
Well, and so obviously the remaining question is something obviously has to make that all worth it. And that has to be the estimated value of the event but I'd love to know what it really is, not marketing value, not made up branding value, not people hearing nice things about your city, but the actual the projected dollar amount has to be considerably more than the projected expenditure for this to be on balance worth your time and effort.
All right, doing a non-racist Google search, and yes. I don't know how accurate this is, but it said that host cities generally bring in they make between $200 and $300 million.
But again, the accuracy of those things, because of how certain things, these amorphous concepts of the value of the advertising, where they'd say, well, you would have paid for the number of times they mention your city and mention your tourism or whatever it might be, that a lot of that is puffed up. It isn't necessarily actual realized value.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but it certainly has to be worth it if teams and cities are willing to go through all this bullshit to get it. I mean, it's got to be worth it. I don't know.
Enough people think it is.
Yeah, I would think. But so just reading through those, now clearly in the current climate of where the Bears are at Soldier Field, this would never be a possibility because they're out from the stadium alone. But if they were to have a domed 75,000 seat stadium,
mm-hmm.
I still can't see the state of Illinois being able to do this. In Arlington Heights, even.
35. And then you start talking about because obviously you can bring things in that you need. If you don't have 750 buses and 5,000 limos, you would have to have them at least temporarily. You don't have to own them, and you have to swap out your buses that are more than 5 years old. I mean, obviously this can all get done
Clearly
with enough lead time.
But isn't that insane?
God.
And that's just, those are 40 of the more interesting things he pulled out of a 154-page document. He even said at the end of it, Joe Pompliano, this is Huddle Up newsletter. He says, P.S. The NFL's 154-page Super Bowl bid submission document reads a little dry, but for those who want to sort through more, but for those who want to sort through more of the details, you can. And he provided a PDF form of it if you want to read through 154 pages. So it's the Huddle Up newsletter if you want to take a look through it more.
I certainly don't need one here. I've never
No, I'm good.
I've never wanted one here. I've been to many of them. I've spent more time at Super Bowl weeks and post Super Bowls, and look at one point, and I love New Orleans, but I was there for 11 days straight covering a Super Bowl. That was too long.
So we did Jacksonville, Houston, Detroit in 06, and then Miami in 07.
I covered all of them.
Yeah, I know, but those are the four that we did as a show, and then and then you guys did San Francisco. Tannehill went. I stayed back.
Yes, that was fun. That was Terry's last hurrah, and that was that. And we sort of had that down to us. So once we could figure out our hotel situations that famously had issues in so many cities that we went to. But when I was young and wild and free, it was mostly really enjoyable.
Yeah, obviously I had fun at all of them. We had a good time. Detroit, that's when Zampilla was up there, so I got to hang out with Z for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Houston
that's
was
when
a
Terry
good time.
and I went to bet the horses at Northville.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, we did.
Jacksonville was always a good time, but yeah, like for us to end, at least for my time going in Miami, was just great. I mean, being in Miami in February, and that was just outstanding. And then the icing on the cake was the Bears.
But also thank me for fixing the hotels there. Because remember, I'm the one that found the extended stay America after Garcia put us in that La Quinta with all the cigarette burns and the.
Oh, that's right.
You remember that? That was another hotel incident.
Yeah, I wondered, were the Score executives, the suits, the people in charge, were they not allowed to research things through the internet?
I don't know, because I remember he's like, well, I had to put you there, and I said, there's hotels all over here. He's like, no, they were too expensive, and I got in the car, I drove down the street, and I called everybody, and I said, come on down here, and I got bigger, better, cleaner rooms for half the price.
Yeah,
and like, well, does anybody have a phone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there was no research ever done. It was really just, what does it cost? Mm-hmm. That's all they looked at.
Yeah, but I found a cheaper one.
I know you did. I know.
It was better.
But isn't that great? Aren't some of those demands just insane?
I'm not surprised.
I mean, oh yeah, not surprised at all, but I absolutely love it.
I guarantee you there are people saying right now the stories about FIFA and the World Cup would put that to shame.
Oh yeah.
That apparently the greed of FIFA and when they start talking about their executives and what's required there of you have to have the finest caviar and clothing them, like that gets obscene when you start hearing stories of what the boilerplate contracts are for FIFA executives and International Olympic Committee. When you talk about the IOC bids and the graph that goes on there, and and I'm joking when I say measuring out their weight in gold, but it's almost that obscene.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the one where a year and a half before the Super Bowl, they send 180 people there for a trip.
You got to pay for everything.
Pay for everything.
Yep. Wherever they want to eat, you got to pay for it.
I mean, you're paying for 180 people to fly, to sleep, to eat, to drink, to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It is pretty amazing when you consider the you say investment. I don't even really know if it's an investment, except in whatever graft, and whatever you can get back from whatever shady politicians say. Well, if you help me out on this, I'll make sure that we earmark you for some free stuff down the line. It's all gross.
But that's the job I want. I want to be part of that 180 group that just goes to the Super Bowl city to hang out.
We probably know people who are part of it. It probably there's probably any number of people, and I'm sure they're actually working.
I'm sure they are.
I mean, there are people who are actually trying to figure out, the routes of where the buses go and all these things and all.
But could you imagine though, like being part of that group, and it's like, all right, hey, the Super Bowl is in Jacksonville, and we're sending you there a year and a half early to go investigate Jacksonville.
Yeah, no thanks.
Or you're going to go to Detroit now. It's changing and evolving and growing. The downtown area is great now. God, the things that they're doing in Detroit in empty spaces to draw chefs and restaurants, and what they'll do to help you build your restaurant out if you want to bring your restaurant into downtown.
Oh, they're
Detroit.
Making like an incentivized kind of incubator thing?
Yes.
Well, then take advantage of it. Go ahead and do it. You got a concept?
Oh, I've got several concepts on paper for restaurants.
All right. Well,
several.
What do you need from me? You need a saucier?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay.
I need you to come work the pasta station.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I could make you an al dente pasta, slave over that water.
Well, I've got a plan of like an all-you-can-eat pizza buffet, and I'd like you to run the buffet. That would be perfect.
Put that down. You touched that one. I can do it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I saw this. I thought you'd enjoy some of these.
I'll have a referee's whistle.
I thought you'd enjoy some of these.
Oh, I have. Yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to reiterate that a Super Bowl around here is just never something I've wanted, and it's still not something I want.
Yeah. And have you ever watched a Super Bowl and thought, wow, golly gee, I need to visit that city?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Never.
Have you ever had a desire to go to another city to watch the game without working it?
No, I have a desire to go to another city, just not to. I wouldn't want to go there and watch a football game.
Yeah, same.
There's a lot of things I'd like to do in plenty of cities that I see, but none of them involve watching a football game. If that's okay.
Is there a city or a part of the country you've never been to that you want to get to?
Oh, all over the world.
No, in the country, not over the world.
Yeah, sure.
What cities haven't you been to in this here country?
A lot. I've never seen. I'm trying to think of the state. There's a small list of states I haven't visited, but like I've never seen Big Sky country. At some point, I'd love to go trout fishing in some of these rivers of Montana.
That'd be fun.
I've never been to Wyoming.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to
see Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I've never been to Portland. I also want to go to Portland, Maine.
I do. I've got an invite. I have a standing invite. We have a fan. We have a longtime fan who's become a friend of mine who has given us a standing invite for where he is in Portland, Maine.
I would love to go to Portland, Maine just to eat.
Well, I would like to go there to do certainly more than that, but it looks absolutely gorgeous and they take vacations, but they don't have kids either. Yeah, that's the other thing. I would like to be in a position where I'm not burdened by commitments to other things in my life, and I could just do whatever I want. But I can't do that.
You're almost there.
I'm getting there. I just want to make
sure. You're almost there.
I want to make sure I can.
I have some years.
Walk.
Yeah,
the key, but no, I want to see Australia. I want to see Moscow. I want to see Prague. I want to go to Scandinavia. There's all kinds of things I want to do. Asia, I haven't been, and members of Asia want to hang out with them.
Scandinavia, I want to go to. I'm not afraid, but I probably would go back to Italy before I go somewhere new.
Why?
I don't know, because I love it so much and may not come back.
Yeah, but there's so many. Greece, I want to see Athens.
I want to go to Greece.
Come on. Thailand, Korea. There's so many places I want to go. But in this country, sure, there's all sorts of adventures to be had.
Yeah, no, I wasn't aware of your travel within this country, what you've done domestically. Because there's still a lot of places I want to go that I haven't been to. I'd like to go to New Mexico, go to Albuquerque, run into Pavia boys.
Be careful. The stuff we heard about Albuquerque, it sounds like another
certain
country.
parts I want to avoid for sure. But yeah, the Northwest I've never been to. Would like to do that.
I've been to Salt Lake. I've spent a lot of time in Salt Lake.
But you did it was all work though.
L.A., San Francisco, did that stuff. You can.
Yeah, you've been
Las
to
Vegas.
you've been to wine country, right?
Yep, been to Sonoma and Napa. That's fun. There's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, but not because of a Super Bowl.
No,
I want to go. I want to go for the opposite of a Super Bowl.
When there's less people there.
Right. When it's less expensive. There's fewer people. It's quieter. It's more peaceful. Yeah. And then you can do it on your terms. You know.
Well, I loved the demands of the NFL. Just amazing. Yeah, I just don't know how it's beneficial. I would love to really know how it's beneficial for a city to have one.
Because you can do all kinds of political favors.
I guess.
It's got to be what it is. And especially if you want to increase your own personal profile, it sounds like a great way for, to take advantage of a lot of ambitious people. I'm not quite sure if you ever actually get the bang for your buck.
I would say no without knowing fully, and I've done that before. Yeah, I would say no. I don't know how you could. I mean, the NFL takes everything that profit-wise, they take it all.
Mm-hmm. I think it would depend on what your city needs, what the citizens of your city need. If it would mean you're taking away from healthcare, education, and everything, transportation.
Right, which is why it would never happen here in Illinois.
Well, it's not, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because when you say that would never happen here because this place just doesn't. No, that's not an insult.
No, it's not.
I'm
not trying to denigrate the great name of the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois.
Okay.
Not at all. All right. So tomorrow on DBU, we are doing our top 10 list because it's Friday, as well as Friday Feedback Friday. And our top 10 list tomorrow are our 10 most memorable championship moments, things that we've witnessed, experienced in our life.
Sports championship experiences.
Yes.
That involved us actually being in a place, not just I saw this on TV, but it can be something you've seen on TV if there was an experience connected to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll do that for top 10 tomorrow. Also want to thank a great number of listeners, the most listeners ever, who have purchased Super Bowl squares for Jackson's Slammers baseball team for our Pigeon Forge trip. A lot of people got in on the squares, so I really appreciate that. So that was really cool.
That's so cool. You guys are going to have garment bags now and all the embroidered stuff. I don't know if it's going to help you play better, but you guys might have enough for this trip.
Hank went to Pigeon Forge last year and came back with the Cal Ripping Experience bag and all the fun stuff with it. So thank you to all the listeners who did get squares. They're putting the numbers on the sheet. I'll get that out to you once I receive that back. But thank you for doing that. It means a lot. Really appreciate it. And then we have tomorrow's Friday for Forward Progress. We'll get more into the actual game itself. As well, and then we'll have DBU picks tomorrow on DBU. So I'm sure we'll look at some of the prop bets too. That'll be a fun segment to talk about as well.
Can't wait. That's going to do it for today's Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast covering the Bears and the NFL and this Super Bowl on 312 Sports.
Forward Progress has stopped. 10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abeticola on 312 Sports.